Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 8th. It is 5:54 right now. We got market opening up in about 36 minutes. I'm following the entries over here in the morning. So the entry over here at 411 had hit already over here for 40 points. There's one that's currently running right here at 507. If you guys look at the notes, couple of these trades were good. A couple of them weren't so great. But yeah, this one over here is currently still running with a 30-60. Not in this position, but I'm just following it here to kind of, end up confirming whether the trade follows along with the others. So the next entry that we're going to be looking at is going to be a little later over here. Or not a little later, it's going to be in a few minutes at 6 o'clock. It's supposed to be against momentum, so we're looking for possible reversal to the other side. Um, Basically back up. So right now we have this, which is with momentum, price came down. This was coming down as well. For this one over here, if this is against momentum, this is likely to, flip back up higher. So we'll kind of see what happens there. So we got an entry right there at 6, another one at 601, and then the next one at 751, which is like way down here. Let me see if I could copy these over real quick. There's just a lot of times here. I don't think I can put the 4 o'clock one. Yeah, there's going to be way too much here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the 4 o'clock ones because it's already past that time. And then probably delete 5 o'clock ones too. Or I guess I leave those there for now at least. And I'll probably delete the 5 o'clock ones a little later. But yeah, I'm looking to get into this one right here at 6 o'clock. So we'll see. I mean, market here is a little choppy. Personally, I prefer it not to be this choppy and at least somewhat directional. That's why I typically like to take the ones that are actually, once market opens up. But I mean, this could be a good entry. It's a good setup. For the 6 o'clock one, it pretty much hits every recent Wednesday. The R&R is pretty good. And all we really need to look for here is the volatility. So we're kind of curious to see what the momentum here is looking like. Overall direction right now is currently it's currently pretty bullish. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, it's all bullish. So short term is bullish. Long term over here is also bullish on the 30 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. So overall trend here is very bullish. Looking over here at market structure, it's pretty bullish as well. So ideally, I probably would like to take a buy here, but we'll kind of see what happens there when price comes along. If a buy signal here comes up, then it may be opposite for a sell. Hey Daniel, morning, morning Sam, morning Will, morning Ben, morning Karen, morning Ryan. Ryan's happy birthday, Sean. Thanks guys, thanks for the birthday wishes. Yeah, today is my birthday. It's crazy how this year flew by. We're in October already. We're almost at the end of the year. It's we're getting into Q4 pretty soon, or we are in Q4 basically. But yeah, guys, thanks Ryan for the happy birthday. Thanks Karen, Maria, Jonathan, Jarrell, Joe, everyone. Chris, guys, thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's another year. It's crazy. I've been trading with you guys live for I think yeah, over 8 years now. So it's been 8 birthdays trading with you guys. I don't take any days off trading. So it's been fun, it's been a fun 8 years. It's been pretty consistent, pretty it just gets better every year. This year we have the algo, so it literally just gets better every year. So thanks, Angela. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, CJ. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. So we got market opening up in about 30 minutes. We got the direction here for the algo for a buy. It looks like we got to wait for this candle here to close, and then once this candle here closes, we'll have confirmation of the direction here. Ideally, I'd be looking to take a buy here. So if we get a buy signal sometime point at some point soon, I probably am not going to be looking to take anything here, but If we do get the buy here, I'm looking to, or if we get the entry for a buy direction, I'll probably be taking it. Hey, well, thanks. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Nelly. I'll give you my expectations for NF, not NFP, for FOMC in a little bit. Ideally, I think it's going to be bullish, and I'll kind of go over my reasoning in a bit. All right, so the direction for the algo is going to be a buy here, guys. When this candle closes in the next 30 or 40 seconds here. But my direction for FOMC is going to be bullish, just because a lot of the data here. So I mean, I'll kind of take a look at the fundamentals in a few. I'm just gonna wait for this entry to come up, and then I'll take a look at the fundamentals. This entry is gonna come up in about 30 seconds. So in about 30 seconds here, I'll be looking for the buy here. Looks like the volatility is starting to pick up a little bit. The one thing that I find to be a little tricky here is when the candle is like really big here on open, but I'm still going to be looking to take this here for a buy. So we got candle closing in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Order submitted. Order.
Here, let me see if I can get the criteria. The candle here was a little big, but it's okay. Yeah, candle's a little big, so profit target's going to be at
Order
33
filled.
in a little bit, and the stop's going to be at 73. All right, so this is the algo move for right now. It's currently a buy entry. Like I said, the candle right here is a little big, but it's okay. Still gonna follow it as is. If this here hits, great. If it doesn't hit, that's fine. This trade has a 82.35% win ratio. Profit target is 40 points. Stop loss is 20. It's at one of my target entries. Great entry. Hits pretty much every Wednesday from the data here. So let's go back and take a look at the data real quick. Just want to make sure everything here kind of lines up. So looking over here at the list of trades, last Wednesday was October 1st, I believe. Yeah, so you can see over here on October 1st, it did hit. Looking over here at the previous Wednesday, so before October 1st, the Wednesday before that was September 24th, which is right here, also hit full TP. And the Wednesday before that is going to be September 17th, which also hit right there. So you can see over here, the data shows that every Wednesday this trade, I mean, it pretty much hits full TP. So it historically hits on Wednesdays. That's like one main reason why I decided to take this trade here. But like I said, the trade's never going to be 100%. Uh, it has an 82.35% win ratio of possibly hitting. If this here stops me out, it's completely fine. I'm going to be looking to take the next one over here at 751. So right there, unfortunately, it looks like it stopped me out. I'm still in profit for the week, so it's not a big deal. This is a small loss, 20 points.
Stop filled.
So stop filled right there. Unfortunately, yeah, that one over there did not play through. This one's been on a pretty nice win streak, though. So this is the same trade we took yesterday at 6 o'clock. This thing actually kind of went back and forth for a while before it actually shot up. The thing here that kind of made me kind of question the trade a little bit was the candle that was so big here on entry. But it's okay. We can't use any outside analysis to prevent us from taking the trade because we're going off the data here. So this is the first trade I took for the day at 6 o'clock. It's the same trade we took yesterday that won. So yesterday we took it at 1. Today we took it at loss, unfortunately. I'm going to be looking to take the next entry, which is going to be at. So the next entry over here is actually, it followed it right after the 601, which would be this candle. And it actually was a sell. So it kind of flipped the other way. So the other trade right now is currently running the other way. I'm not in this one though, of course. I'm not doubling up on the positions, but there's another position that's running this way. So the 601, 6 o'clock one over here, this one lost. This is the one that I got into. And there's another one running right next to it right here, which is a 601, which is also a good entry. And it hit most recent Wednesdays, which is currently now running to the downside. The next entry that I'll be looking to take is not going to be the 627. It's going to be this one down here at 751. So we're keeping the risk kind of where it's at. We're we're doing everything with a 1 to 2. So, the next trade, if I win the next trade, it's going to recoup the loss, and then it's also going to put profit on top. So that is what we'll be looking for the next trade here. All right. Looks like we got a lot of chop here. So with this market chop, this is what kind of throws off momentum because there's not a lot of direction here. This is why for me personally, I like taking trades where the market's open. We just started taking a lot of these pre-market trades, I guess this week. So I think yesterday and the day before we got up a little earlier to take the 6 a.m. trade. This thing's been hitting pretty nicely for the past couple of days. What I think is going to happen here is we might have a shift in the algo because what I noticed from the list this week, or not this week, but just today actually, if you look at the list from today, there actually wasn't that many entries that showed up. So if you look over here at my list of all of these right here, these are all the entries for today, right? Between 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 to 9 right here. Comparing these to the entries from the day before right here, there was actually a lot more entries prior. So it looks like we might be getting a shift. There might be a lower percentage of trades that are going to be available. But with that being said, it's the algo adapting with what's current for the market. Because this was the entries on the prior day as well. See, there's a lot more entries around 7 o'clock. So you can see over here on seven or around 6 o'clock actually. So 6 o'clock today we only had 1, 2, 3 entries. And a couple days ago we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries. So it's a big difference, which is fine. We want the algo to adapt with the market, and we want to be taking and we want to be following the trades with the highest win percentage. So yeah, that's just one thing I noticed yesterday when I was pulling the data. The 6 o'clock trades, there just weren't that many. There's only three here compared to yesterday too. Yesterday there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 opportunities at around 6 o'clock versus today only three. So, we might be getting into a choppy market. If that's the case, that's perfectly fine. Looking over here at the data, so I'm looking at the fundamentals right now. The thing with the fundamentals that's really, affecting the market right now is the government shutdown, right? Because the problem is a lot of this data is not coming out. Like FOMC today is supposed to come out. I don't know if the data is even going to come out with the FOMC minute, or the minutes should come out because the meeting was last week. But other than that, there's not really much else to work with. Like we didn't have NFP last week. CPI is going to be tricky because we don't have CPI, we don't have PPI. So we don't have any inflation news, we don't have jobs data, we don't have housing data. Um, and that's why, the market here is kind of in limbo. If you look at the market here, it's very choppy, right? It's very back and forth. For these momentum trades to really hit, we need to have some sort of direction, right? So like for example, pre-market over here, we did have some direction, prices pushing up. This was against momentum and it came down the other way. With this trade that we took right here, it was pushing up slightly, but it wasn't enough to have like, full on reversal. Because like I said over here, there's two trades that were running opposite of each other, a buy and a sell. We took the buy here because ideally, the overall trend here was bullish and the overall market structure was also bullish. So looking back at the trend, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute shorter time frames, price is above the pivots, the trend meter is green, the pivots are angling up, right? So that indicates that we're in a bullish trend. Looking over here on the higher time frames, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, same thing. Price is above the pivots, the trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling to the upside. So with that being said, the ideal direction to take trades here would be a buy, right? That's why for our trade here, I was more concerned with the buy than the sell. That's why when the buy came up, I was like, okay, I'm okay with taking this because the algo is pointing towards the upside. Plus, we have overall market structure and overall trend, which is also bullish. Looking over here at market structure, it's a little more mixed. So if you look down at my screener down here, it says on the 1 minute it's bullish, 5:15 is neutral, 31 hour is bullish, and the 4 hour is neutral. So with that being said, it still has a bullish bias. And that's why I was looking for a buy here. However, there's two trades running alongside. The 1 minute is bullish. The 6 o'clock is bullish, which what we took, and the one following it at 6:01 is actually bearish. But you can see here that price is not really going anywhere, right? So it looks like it doesn't matter which direction you took, whether buy or sell, you would still be stuck in limbo right here. I think this trade, so the 601 trade is probably going to run until 6:30 market open. My next opportunity for entry here is going to be at 7:51. So this probability is probably going to change. I think this trade will probably be available again tomorrow. Um, Obviously, the win percentage is going to drop a little bit. It's at 82.35 probability of winning. 14 out of the 17 trades won for this specific 6 o'clock entry. This here is probably going to drop down to like 80% because this loss here is going to be accounted for. I think I could, here, let's see. I can probably update it now to include today's. Yeah, Rashida said, yeah, it's been good. I'm good with my negative 300. We will make it back. Yeah, I only lost 300 on this trade, guys, so it's not that much. You know, I was up for the week. What was that for the week? 1,000. Where's my profits for yesterday? Okay, so yeah, for I was basically up like 600. So I'm up still 300 for the day. So these are my weekly P&L. And I just lost 300 on these, and I lost like 600 on these. So the profits are still good. And hopefully the next one will be a win. If the next one's a win, it's going to recoup this loss and it's going to make profit on top. But I'm hoping the volatility here picks back up a little more. If you guys want to take the 627 trade, it's going to be with momentum. It has a 64.71% win ratio. The only problem with this trade here at 627 is that it's going to be right before market open. So I mean, personally, I wouldn't take it, but if you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys here. Let's see, question from Daniel. He's asking, were we supposed to flip it since the candle closed with the buy signal? No. So it's what happens before the time candle, Daniel. So yeah, this one was a buy because the candle before it was, or the momentum before the actual entry candle was a sell momentum right here. The only difference here that could have thrown people off, or even us in general, is that price here is choppy. So that's kind of what's happening here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if price ends up pushing all the way up from here. Like after this chop, we get a bullish push to the upside, right? Pretty much hitting our target at that point. Um, But yeah, you can see here, it doesn't really matter which direction you would take for a buy or a sell. You'd still be in this choppiness. The unfortunately our buy here lost because our stop was pretty tight. Let me just clean this up. So this was our trade right here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this here stopped it out and then it came right back up. It's still going sideways. We have the second trade here though that's currently running. That's in the opposite direction. We typically don't like to trade in choppy markets, but we can't really tell because we're in pre-market right now. So this choppiness was, you're kind of taking a chance trading before pre-market. Because when you trade pre-market, the odds of you getting caught in the chop are very likely. It's like similar to what happened to our trade yesterday, right? Where's our markup from yesterday? So this was our trade at 6 o'clock yesterday, right? Price was pushing. This is why like yesterday was actually a little better because price was pushing up pretty nicely. The entry candle from yesterday was actually was nice because it was a big candle. And then you can see over here price went sideways and then eventually it did push to hit its target. But this isn't as choppy as today. This here was a trade that we took yesterday. It was like moving pretty nicely to the downside. This one over here it's not really moving in either direction. It's more so just going back and forth. Hey, Rev. Thanks. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, guys, for the birthday wishes. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that we're almost at the end of the year again. Because my birthday's at the end. Well, it's in today, October 8th. It's like towards the end of the year. And I feel like we just started this trading year. I'm just flying by. So if you guys are looking for another entry, the next algo entry is going to be at 627. It's going to be with momentum. I have it marked up right here. It's not a it's not an entry that I really recommend taking because markets can open at about 6:30. So you're going to get caught in the manipulation. You're going to have like 2 minutes before market open. So I personally wouldn't take it. If you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you. Thanks, sir. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, but like I just said right here, market is kind of just going back and forth. So let me put the stats over here so far. So today's trades. So this one over here at 411 win plus 2R. The trade I took right here at 6 o'clock. This one over here is going to be a loss, -1R. There's another trade running right here with the other one, the 601, but I'm not really going to count that one because I wasn't looking to take that one. The next one we can possibly follow is going to be this one right here at 627. So let me change the stats over here. Stats can be 627. Let's just kind of see, what the stats are looking like. Looking at historical data. All right, so my algo over here is currently updating. You can see below it says updating report. We're going to see what it looks like here for the 627. I got to update this again because this one's going against momentum. Hey, EJ, thanks. Yeah, so looking at this right here, it's updating. We're going with momentum. This is against. So again, it's updating the report right here. I'm just gonna get the data here for you guys. So like, depending if you guys want to take it, you guys can have an idea of like what to look out for. So you can see the trade that we took here at 7 o'clock with this loss right here. It's brought down the win ratio down to 72.2. It was like closer to like 80 earlier, and it dropped down, so it's updated so far. Anyways, okay, so here's a trade at 627. If you guys want to take this trade right here, that's lined up. This is the next upcoming trade. It has a 64.71% win ratio. It won 11 out of the 17 trades, so the probability for this trade is pretty good. Looking over here at the previous Wednesday, so the last Wednesday was October 1st, it was a loss. The Wednesday before that is September 24th, also a loss. Wednesday before that is the 17th, and this would be a win. So just looking back at the previous data over here, it shows that I mean it's not always winning on a Wednesday. That's just one thing to put into mind. It won on the 17th, it lost on the 24th, and it lost on the 1st. So basically, if you're counting the previous Wednesdays for the previous month, basically it lost two out of the three trades. So I don't know if this here would be a really good entry at 627. Again, you got market open at 630, so you're kind of putting yourself at a gamble. You're hoping that the trade hits within the first 2 minutes, or you're hoping that the breakout at 630, spikes to your direction. So I personally wouldn't recommend taking this. I think there's too much manipulation around this time period. Ideally, I'd probably wait for the later entry. The next entry after that's not until 7:51. So we're basically gonna be hanging out for about an hour, almost 2 hours before the next entry. So I could answer any questions around there if you guys have anything about that. Uh, let's see. Krotos is asking, will you take the 751 trade? Yeah, most likely. Here, let's check the stats for that one. So the 751, let's just kind of see what the stats look like for that one to make sure that it's a good one. Um, it's not a great entry, but it is a good entry. And I think it's because of the data here as well. So let's pull that one up real quick. It's going to be with momentum. Again, price is not doing anything right here, right? Price is going back and forth sideways. We might be in a little bit of a chop for the next couple of days, if not a couple of weeks, depending on well, just pre-market. So pre-market, we might be in like some chop here. So if you look back at the 6 o'clock trade, the 6 o'clock trade is still running. The 6 o'clock and 601 trade. The 6 o'clock one hit stop loss, but the 601 trade is still technically running. Um, you just don't want to be caught in this chop. Obviously, when you're taking momentum here, you want to ride momentum. You can't really ride momentum when price is chopping up like this. So let me just go back over here. I'm going to delete this first one. So this is the trade at 601. It's still running, right? It's drag this over. It's still running in profit. It's nothing crazy, but it's still running right there. Let's delete the other one. So this one over here, you can see it stopped out, but then it pulled back up. The stats over here just didn't really give criteria for the other time frames. But anyways, next entry for me to take is going to be here at 751. I have the data right here. So the 751 trade, it has a 64.71 probability of it hitting. It's won 11 out of the 17 trades. Looking over here at the list of trades, so the last Wednesday was October 1st. The trade won on October 1st. Trade before that's going to be on September 24th. On September 24th, it also hit. And then looking back at September 17th, it also hit. So looking at this, the 751 trade is actually a really good trade because, let me check the stats real quick. Yeah, 751 right here. It's a good trade because it wins every Wednesday. It's actually, I put good entry here, but it's actually a great entry because we're looking back at historical data. The farthest back Wednesday, this is about 3 weeks ago, it hit full TP right there for a win. The one before that on the 24th, it also hit a win right there. And then the one before that, October 1st, pretty much every Wednesday for the past 3 Wednesdays, it's hit. So yeah, I'll be looking to take that 751 trade for sure. All right, so price here is pushing back up, guys. It looks like our initial entry at 6 o'clock was actually a good entry. It looks like it just stopped us out and it's pushing back up higher. So we took the 6 o'clock one right here. I took a small loss. It was a 1 hour loss. Here, let me just move this over a little bit. I'll just drag over our old entry that we took on that loss, unfortunately. It's actually back in profit. So it looks like, let me delete this real quick. Looks like, we took the entry right here. Unfortunately, it just came down, stopped us out because we're in this back and forth chop, and now it's pushing all the way back up to where we were expecting. So it looks like the momentum direction was correct. It was just the stop loss was a little too tight. 20-point stop loss right there. If we had this, a little closer or a little wider. So now I'm kind of curious to see. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back to that 8 o'clock entry, or sorry, 6 o'clock entry. And I'm just going to play around with the numbers a little bit. So I'm going back to this entry right here, the one that we just took, which lost at 6 o'clock. I'm just curious to see, like in the past, if we used a wider TP stop loss, because it looks like if we went just a little bit wider, the the trade would have survived. So this is against momentum. So I'm gonna see where the profitability is looking right now. Let me see if I could update this to the 8th. Yeah, there we go. We'll include today's trade. Oh, nice. So Talanji said he's actually still in the 6 o'clock entry. He got in with a discount and he was up 20 points and then he pulled out at 10. So nice work right there, Talanji, on catching that. Probably a good decision to pull it out because you can see here price is still chopping up. So it's not exactly the best market. But anyways, so this is the entry that we took at 6 o'clock. It had closer to like an 82% win ratio or probability of winning. Now, because we took the loss for today, it's down to a 77, which is still pretty high. I mean, if you look at the stats for this specific 6 o'clock trade, it actually has never had drawdown, right? Like it's pulled down, we had maybe one loss. Like the losses happen every so often, right? There's a loss here, there's a loss here, there's a loss here, but out of every loss, there's like 4 to 5 wins. There's actually no drawdown period right here for this specific 6 o'clock entry. So this 6 o'clock entry is like this is like a unicorn trade basically because it has such a high probability of winning. That's why we've been taking the 6 o'clock. We won the trade yesterday. Today, unfortunately, we got caught in the chop and it stopped us out because our stop was a little tighter. I'm just now kind of curious to see what it looks like if our target or our stop loss was a little wider, right? So instead of 40-20, I'm going to check to see what it looked like with 50-25. I just want to see if the win ratio is still pretty high. So I'm going to look right here to see if the win ratio still stays above like 65% or above 70. Because if that's the case, then, maybe the higher stop or the wider stop would have been a little better. The thing is, it didn't show up on my data. So like the only time that I got here for 6 o'clock was at 40:20. Yeah. So the win ratio right here for 25, if we had a wider stop loss, it doesn't translate to a higher win percentage because when you have a 25 point target, it's actually less. So the 6 o'clock entry is only good for 40:20. It doesn't look like it's really that good on the higher time frame. So let's check 60/30 real quick. I'm just trying to pull the data to see like what would work best or if like, we could hold it for longer or have a wider TP stop loss. It's not looking like it. So the 50/25 right here doesn't look good. I'm gonna check the 60/30 now. Here's the updated report. Nice. Talanji actually got, or David also got in with a discount, so he should have held it. It's all good. I mean, it always sounds like a good idea later on, like from hindsight view, but you got to go with what the data tells you, right? That's why for me, I wasn't really looking to risk it. So again, right here, the data shows that the strategy, it's still profitable, but it's not as good as the 40/20. So using a 60/30 right here, it has a 58.82 probability of the trade hitting. It wins 10 out of 17 trades, which is still good. You'll still be profitable taking it with a wider TP stop loss, but it doesn't yield to higher expectancy. Let's just do one more, 70/35. I'm just always curious to see what the numbers look like on different time frames. And you can see over here, this is why like I stuck to the 40/20 because it had the highest probability of winning in comparison to the other time frames. We tried 25/50, we tried 30/60, we're now checking out 35/70. And it looks like the profitability stays above 50, but not super, super high. So we'll see. Blanco said, good morning, peeps. Currently on a buy at 46,959, stop at 46,906. Nice. Target at 47,134. Trying to be out before 2 p.m. Hopefully 9:30 will be this push. And happy B-Day, bro. Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Blanco. So again, guys, looking at the numbers right here, it doesn't work well. So the 6 o'clock trade does not work well with a wider TP stop loss. It actually does worse. So the only TP stop loss that works really well for the 6 o'clock entry is going to be the 40/20. So let's go again. I'll drop it back down to 40/20. This is at a 47% probability of it winning with a 70/35. We're now dropping back down to 40/30 or 40/20. And you guys will see this number here start to shift quite a bit. It's going to be a big change. So it goes from 47%. So let's see what happens when you drop it down to 40/20, which is a trade that we actually took. And when you drop it back down to that, it gives a probability of 77. So huge difference there, right? So if I was to play the odds, obviously I would take the 40/20 versus a different target. So this is how I'm able to identify which trades I decide to take and which ones I decide not to, guys. Like I have a list here with all these trades here, and some of them I say, target entry, some of them I say good entry, some of them I say, bad entry or whatever. This is how I identify which ones I decide to take and which ones I decide to sit out. I pull up the data here. I look at the historical data. If the data shows that it hits on certain days and it works pretty well on certain days, then I take it. For this trade here, it hits pretty much every Wednesday. There's no guarantee though. So here's the thing with trading that a lot of people need to understand. And it's one thing that I started to understand a lot more recently. For me, I like having a high win ratio. I like to win like, every single trade basically. But I've come to realize, with having the statistics here, like with having this algo here, it shows me the probabilities, but it always tells me that it's almost impossible to be 100%, right? And I think that's the problem with a lot of people is they want to be 100% with your trading. And if you're not able to accept a loss, that can really destroy your trade psychology in a sense. So that's why for me here, I take everything off probabilities. Anything above like a 65 to like 85% win ratio or win probability, I'll probably take it. That's why like a lot of my target entries over here. they have like the highest win ratio. Like this one has an 82. The one that I looked at earlier over here had a 70. This one had a 70, 75, etc. Because these over here provide, the best odds for your trades. And if you're using proper risk to reward, you should be perfectly fine. Like if I ever take a loss, like for example, if I take a loss here, I'll still be in profit, of course, because I'm going for 40 points and I'm risking only 20. So one win pretty much gives me double, while one loss only takes away half. Yeah, CJ said I'm cool with the loss we got. I know we'll make up for it later. Plus, no trade taken is 100%. Exactly, CJ. And that's what I'm trying to get across to a lot of people, right? Sometimes you just got to eat those losses. And market is now open, guys. So this is the time that I try to avoid trades. Let's see that 627 trade. So the 627 trade over here was actually a buy. It looks like it probably would have stopped you out if you would have taken that one. So again, this is why I try not to take any trades close to the 630 candle, because see how this candle here is spiking back and forth. Market is now open. Direction for the original breakout. Let's see. So if you're looking to take the regular breakout, the direction is for a buy. So if you're using the 10-minute time frame, the direction is for a buy. And I think Talanja, what we talked about was 80-40, right? I mean, it looks like this here would have stopped out. Yeah, 80-40 would have stopped out, but if you were to do the 50-50, I mean, it still would have stopped out too. I don't think it would have mattered at all. Hey, Hadas, thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Um, yeah, I mean, it looks like today, like look at this huge spike. This is why for me personally, I don't like taking any trades that are close to 630 anymore. Because this stuff is like you'll never know if it's gonna spike up or spike down. It can really spike either direction. Okay, that's good to know, Solange. Yeah. Solange here is taking the stats for the breakout on open. Again, I'll continue to try and follow it and see what the stats are looking like, of course. So these are the 90-day stats for the breakout on open. If you guys are looking at this from a long-term perspective, you just want to have a probability of above 33.33%. Because if you're trading a 1 to 2 risk to reward on this specific strategy, you just need above a 33% to make profit, right? Right now it's currently at a 40% probability or win ratio. This is within a 90-day period. So basically 65 trading days. And the thing is, everything here was bullish. So, like, I mean, ideally, the bias here would have been the ideal direction, but I'm not in any of these positions here. So, looking at this so far, let's see if this one is still running though. Okay, so looking at the 6 o'clock and the 601 trade, it looks like you could have gotten stopped out in either direction if you took whichever one right here at 6 o'clock. This is why we don't like the choppy markets because you could lose in either direction, right? You can lose to the buy, you could lose to a sell, especially if your stop losses are super tight. I only took one trade today, so for me, I'm just down 1 R. Not a big loss because we had wins on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm still in profit pretty good right now for the week. I'm just hoping the next trade wins because if the next trade does win, I'll be able to recoup that and then make profit on top of it. So my next entry point is going to be right here at 751. There's no entries that I have lined up between now and then. If you look over here at my list, pretty much everything is done with. 6 o'clock's done with, 7 o'clock's done with, or not 7 o'clock. The 5 o'clock and the 6 o'clock trades are done. There's only one trade over here that came up and it was pretty smooth. So this one over here, pre-market at 411. This was for a sell entry. It was against momentum, so price pushed up. Did the opposite of momentum. This here had no drawdown, straight to target. This one over here, I took it, it stopped us out, and then it pushed right back up. It's a good thing you pulled out of this position earlier, Titsalanji. It's a good thing that you pulled out of this one earlier. Looks like the orb just came through. Let's see. Yeah, so Sam over here is looking at the orb. Yeah, the orb was pretty smooth. It looks like it broke. It came for the retest really quickly and then shot right back down. So if you guys took the orb over here, full TP on that one. Surprised the orb was pretty smooth because usually if the other breakouts are kind of choppy, the orb will be choppy too. But today the orb is actually pretty smooth. Like we talked about this earlier and we talked about this yesterday. With the government shutdown, it's kind of like throwing off the market direction quite a bit because there's a lot of data that hasn't been released, right? NFP hasn't been released, the inflation data has not been released, the housing data hasn't been released because they're either delaying it or they're just canceling the reportings with the government shutdown. I don't even know how long this government shutdown is going to last for. I'm sure it's going to end I don't want to say pretty soon, but it can't last forever, right? It just can't last forever. Yeah, so the Dow's currently around like -9 right now. It's not super far down. It's going to be down though if it keeps dropping. But yeah, guys, so back to our analysis over here, like we talked about, there's no entries for me to take right now. My next entry is going to be at 7:51. So we got about a little over an hour until my next algo entry. The good thing here that I like is that market is now starting to move, right? We're starting to have some direction here. That's solid. Like that's what we need. We need some direction because this thing was just going sideways for like the past 2 hours between 4 o'clock and now. Yeah, so unfortunately Blanco got kicked out of his position too. He was in a buy earlier. If that makes anybody else feel better about their buy positions. All this market manipulation here on open. I wasn't expecting a dump like this. Let's see how far that it dumped down. Yeah, this thing, look at this thing. It went through the floor. So let me measure this real quick. So this connection issue right here. Is this thing still dumping? Damn, this thing is going through the floor right now. Okay, I'm refreshing my trading view window right now. Yeah, this thing is just it's dumping super, super hard. Yeah, this thing is going, damn, 200 points on open. It's crazy. Big, big dump right there. I wasn't expecting this to drop this heavily on open. I was expecting it to drop a little bit, but not 200 points. Because this thing shot through pretty much all of I mean, it just went straight through everything here, which is fine. I mean, so the thing with this that I like is that so now that we have a lot of volatility right here, this is going to create more opportunities for our algo moving forward. Like this data right here is going to be incorporated into the algo data for next week, right? I like that we're having more direction here because the more direction that we have, the algo is going to learn to follow this momentum. Right now, we don't have any entries between 6 o'clock and 7, right? Right now, between 6 and 7, there's only there's only three like high probability trades here. Um, so I do like the fact that market here is moving because it's going to provide more opportunities for entry over the next couple weeks. The algo is just going to keep learning. So we'll and I'm glad that I'm not in any positions right here because I think this would be a really stressful place to be in if you're taking trades around this area. Um, because I feel like this is a lot of market manipulation. The thing is there's no data behind the movement here, right? Like there's no news for this morning. I mean, the Fed's speaking, so that's one thing. The Fed's speaking, so maybe they are announcing stuff, but there's nothing else that's really pushing price around. Like these types of moves here, these are like NFP moves, right? Like a high impact news event. Like if we had CPI this morning or PPI, if you guys are familiar, CPI is Consumer Price Index. It's like an inflation news release. If we had inflation news this week, okay, I'd expect this to happen, right? Say we had a big news release at 5:30. This would be expected, right? The thing is, there's no news releases here. And then if you look at CNBC, it shows that, it shows that the market's up. So, I mean, not that I'm following the news, but I'm just saying, like, we're basing it off the data here. There's not really any data to drop price 200 points. right? There's no catalyst behind it. It's not like, oh, some news event was released or something is happening that's causing the market to drop like this. It's just market opens up and it drops 200 points. And then I wouldn't be surprised if here it shoots right back up for correction, right? So, I mean, this is another reason why I like to weigh a lot of my analysis and my criteria on the algo, because the algo over here it just pulls data, right? So when you have these outliers where like there's days where like these random spikes happen, the algo just ignores it. It doesn't consider this a good momentum push, right? If this happens every day for like the past 30 days or so, because like for example here, what my algo does is it pulls data. So you can see over here it pulls data for the past 18 trading days. So if this momentum pushes down every day for the past 18 days or like majority of the days, we'll have a probability of it happening again. Right. So if this happens and we get a big dump or we get a big push on open and it happens consistently over 18 trading days, then it's going to give me a probability right here. And then we can hop into that type of trade. But right now, the algo doesn't identify that. So that's why it's super, super important that this here uh, will continue to happen or not happen. Because then if it happens more, the algo will catch it. Right now, this is more so random than a consistent move that happens during this time period. Let's see. Yeah, Blanco said this is definitely manipulation. LOL, they've been doing some crazy ones lately. Yeah, PC said range rotation liquidity being set up for FOMC later. The thing is, the minutes from the FOMC it's not new news. The meeting happened already, right? They're gonna drop the minutes, but the thing is, the FOMC data is already out. So if you look later at 11 o'clock, I can almost guarantee you're not going to see a spike at 11. Like they're not. This isn't something new. These are just minutes that happened from the previous weeks. Um, the days where it will have effect is going to be like the interest rate decision, right? Because the decision already came out. We had a cut last week. The FOMC that actually matters is the one that happens the following week, right? Which is going to be, see, this is the one that matters. Today's FOMC is not going to be a big deal because it's just the minutes. The meeting already happened. It's not like the meeting's happening right now. It's not something new. The meeting that actually is going to be important is going to be this one right here. So on October 29th, this is the FOMC meeting that actually matters. Like if someone wanted to take a bet with me and they said, okay, I bet you at 11 o'clock price is going to spike. I would take the bet because I'm not expecting price to spike at 11. This stuff is old news. The one that you want to be more concerned with is the one on the 29th because that's going to be that's like where they actually speak and they have announcements regarding the Fed news. So the reason why this one's going to be important for the next one is because they're going to be announcing whether we're going to have future rate cuts or if we're not, right? The thing is the cuts already happened. So I mean there's not much else that they can announce on it. So that's one thing to pay attention to. Not to say that there's not going to be some movement at 11 o'clock, but I don't think it's going to be anything drastic. It's just going to be a confirmation of whatever was announced last week and the weeks prior. Let's see. Sam said anything important may come in FOMC without recent jobs. Yeah, and exactly. So like Sam over here also mentioned, is anything important going to come in today because the data didn't come out last week, right? We didn't have NFP. We didn't have housing data, the jobs data. That stuff didn't come out last Friday. So what can really be announced today that's going to affect the market? I don't know. Not much. Not until the government shutdown's over with. So we'll see. Let's see, Blanco City, yeah, exactly. These are like the big top 10 news, CPI, FOMC. There hasn't been any news, and this thing has just been going bananas on open. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, Blanco. So like, just what I was talking about earlier, guys, like this stuff just doesn't have there's no reason for there's no catalyst for these moves right here on open. Like I could expect maybe a 100-point move. Maybe a 150-point move, but a 200-point move is a pretty big, like these happens on like big news days, which obviously today is not one of those days. It's just the minutes. If you guys are not familiar with minutes, minutes just means like the notes from the previous meeting. Like we're not having a Fed member come up and give a speech today. They're just releasing the document covering the uh, the detailed minutes from last meeting. So I know because we always get those dates confused, right? Whenever you guys see FOMC, you think it's like a big meeting that's happening. It's that's why you got to see the difference between this. So when you guys look at the news, make sure that you look at what it says after FOMC. If it says minutes, it's just notes from the previous meeting. But if you look at the one that says was it the 29th? So this is the one that you want to be more concerned with, Fed interest rate decision. Because the thing is, last week they said that they're going to give more cuts this year. Like I think they said two or three more cuts. I think it's probably gonna be two cuts, maybe not three, maybe not even two. It might just be one. Historically, we've been trading for like a long time now. I've been trading for 12 years and we've been trading live for about 8 years. There's usually not cuts during the holidays. So there might be a cut this month in October, but I'm not expecting a cut in November or December. Usually during the holidays, there's no cuts. So I'm not really expecting there to be two or three cuts. Maybe one or two, but not two or three. It's just a lot of it just doesn't, it just never happens. But the thing is, we're in a different type of year, right? Like this year, we had a revision of NFP that happened last month. I've never seen that happen in all my years of trading. I've never seen NFP be revised, and the revision wasn't even good. The NFP data from last month was really, really bad, and the revision was even worse. So if you guys have been following the data, I know not everybody here knows how to follow the fundamental data, but the jobs data was really bad last month and the month before that. The inflation's going up and the value of the dollar is going down. So if you put all those three things together, this it indicates a market crash, either a market crash or a recession. So just something to keep in mind. It might be creeping up because one thing that you guys have noticed and that we've noticed too is that we're in a crazy, crazy bullish market, right? It doesn't matter what happens. Like, inflation can go up, jobs data can be shit, and the market still goes up, right? If we look over here, let's look at the overall market. So let's go back to the 4 hour. Like it doesn't matter how bad the economy has been, the market just keeps going up and up and up. We're hitting all-time highs with YM pretty much every couple months. Um, and it just doesn't align with the data. Like if you look at the fundamentals, the market shouldn't be going up like this, like forever. It's like the market just keeps getting pumped higher and higher and higher whenever people expect it to come down. So there's no need for you guys to look into the fundamentals, but I've been looking more into the fundamentals more recently, especially since I've been more familiar with using AI to identify stuff like that. That's why for me, I understand this a little bit more than I did before, but it doesn't matter because we're day traders. So unless you're long-term investing, it's going to affect you. But for us day trading, it doesn't really it doesn't really affect us that much because we're looking for these short-term moves. Yeah, exactly. Stern said inflation up causes no rate cuts. Yeah. So that's the weird thing, right? Because inflation goes up, we're still getting cuts. So if inflation goes up and then we have more cuts, it's gonna there's gonna be a breaking point in the economy. And I think that's what a lot of people are scared about. Because we're not ready for rate cuts, but Trump is he's really pushing for those rate cuts. Let's see, Talandri said really considering to go against the opening momentum when there is news or uncertainty. Yeah, I agree with you, Talanji. I think there's usually going to be a spike in the opposite direction if that's the case. The thing is, there hasn't been news, and there's probably not going to be news for a while, right? The whole calendar is kind of screwed up right now because of the government shutdown. Like, for example, um, like we have jobless claims next tomorrow. I don't even think they're going to release this data. So you guys can see here for Thursday, October 9th, there is a jobless data that's going to be coming out at 5:30. I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and this has disappeared, right? You can see over here from Forex Factory, it says US government data may be impacted by the shutdown. Tentative events are subject to delay, revision, or cancellation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and all this data does not come out because of the government shutdown. And then on Friday, we have Michigan consumer sentiment. This is probably going to be canceled as well. And then next week, so these are the big news events for next week. Next week, we have CPI, which is Consumer Price Index. It's inflation news. We have PPI as well, which is Producer Price Index. These data, this data is not going to come out. So, I mean, you guys can imagine, right? We go a whole month, maybe 2 months without like these really, really important economic data points. The market's going to be it's going to be a toss-up basically, because a lot of people trade off that data, right? So I don't think the government shutdown will take that long, though. I think by next month there should be an agreement, or even by this month. Um, like there should be some sort of agreement. What I've read about, I know like some of you guys have probably read about this too. What I read about is that this is all kind of baked in. Like this government shutdown is, I mean, it's usually baked in. What I've read about is that Trump is basically he's forcing this government shutdown and not negotiating with the Democrats because he wants to fire a bunch of people, right? So what he can do here is he can use this as leverage, right? So the thing is, if they can't cut expenses, right? If they can't agree to some sort of budget, they got to fire people because where are they going to get the money from? So there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be laid off, with government jobs, federal jobs specifically. And this is all part of like his master plan, basically. It's messed up, but that's kind of like, that's how they're going to be making cuts because you think about it, they if they lay off like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 federal employees, right? That's going to generate, or not really generate, but it's going to save so much in expenses for the US government. And I think that's kind of what's happening. So we'll see. We'll kind of see everything as a circus right now with Trump president. It's a crazy time to experience the markets. But that's what Trump does, right? That this is what Trump does, and this is what we wanted, really. We were expecting this to happen. When Trump was running for president again, we talked about this. We said, okay, market was super dead during Biden's time, and we're like, okay, we want Trump to come back to cause volatility in the market. And we got what we asked for. We got a very, very volatile market. Very volatile, very random market in a sense. Let's see. Sam's asking Sean your view, please. I think the lesson here is if there are multiple buy, sell, and trend keeps switching, avoid the trade. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%, Sam. Typically you want to trade when there's some sort of bias in the market, right? The bias for today was actually bullish, but price here dumped down super heavily. If you guys were on the live session, earlier, so we've been on this live session since, before 6 o'clock pre-market. Everything pre-market was very bullish, right? I mean, everything here has kind of shifted now. It's no longer like that. So if you look over here, everything was bullish pre-market, like before market opened up, and then now it's kind of dumped down, even on the higher time frames. So the problem with this is that everything did look good for a buy, but then market opened up and it shut right back down. So this kind of throws off a lot of analysis for people, especially if people are trading like what you mentioned, Sam, with some sort of bias or some sort of direction. Because this here would have been like here, let's just go over here to the 1 minute, or let's go to the 15 minute. I think this is gonna be better. So see this, if you're analyzing the market and you're like, okay, market's probably gonna be bullish today because it's been bullish for like the past, 3, 4, 5 hours. And then all of a sudden you have this huge candle. Look at this 15-minute candle. This is super uncalled for, right? This candle is extremely large. You look back and there isn't really any candles like that. And the thing is, there's no news today. There's nothing that's causing it to drop like that. Let's go check financial juice. There's no breaking news here. There's nothing here that's causing the market to really spike down. I know there's Fed meetings today, but those Fed meetings aren't big enough to like if you look over here, there's just nothing here. It says Fed bar does not commit to monetary policy or economic outlook. So the Fed actually didn't even say anything to cause anything here to really dump. But if you look at the data over here, like this is a huge candle on open. Huge, huge red candle right here. And you look back, like we don't really have big candles like that. This was on Monday the 6th. This is because market opened up for the weekend, so this makes sense. But today's just a random Wednesday. Random Wednesday with no actual news. And you just look back. So this is what I mean about the historical data. Let's just measure this candle here. Okay, so this 15-minute candle dropped 255 points. If you look back over here, to see how many times it's dropped like that. Like it didn't even drop like that on Monday, right? It dropped, but not with one candle. So you can go back and you can just look. Today's open was just it's a huge outlier because one candle was 255 points, and you keep going down. We haven't had a big candle, a big open like that in a really, really long time. So the big spike from this morning, there's one right here. So this is probably the closest one. This was at on Monday, September 29th. I don't know if there was a news that day, but it's not 255 points. So this morning open, there hasn't been a spike like this. Okay, let's check NFP from last week, for last month actually. So let's go to September, first week of September NFP. I just want to see if the NFP candle was this big. Because see, this is a CPI candle. This was CPI from last month, September. Even the CPI candle wasn't that big. It was close, but not as big as today's candle open. This is Friday. Yeah, okay, so this is NFP right here. This is a market open at 6:30. So look at this right here. This is NFP. Even NFP was not bigger than today's big spike to the downside. So you guys can see how today's an outlier. Today's not one of those regular days because this huge red candle right here, even NFP of last month was not as big as this one. Um, and it's fine. It's cool because we're not taking any trades here. I just want to show you guys that, this open manipulation this is very unusual because you compare this to an actual news day and it doesn't even compare to how much that it's dropped. But going back to Sam's point, yeah, I agree. If the market is kind of tricky, then if the market is kind of tricky, then it's best to just kind of sit it out and avoid trades altogether. But here we go. Price is still going back and forth. We're just in this big range right now. Price is going back and forth between this point. I don't have any entries here for the algo until 7:51. So we still have some time here until we get to that point. If you guys are just joining in, looks like Glenn just joined in. He said just got in. Any trade, Sean? There was a trade here pre-market at 4:11, which won. And then I took this one at 6 o'clock and I lost it. It was a 1 hour trade, so it was a very small loss. But yeah, there was two trades here which basically came up. There was an orb entry that came up today too, which was a full TP. I didn't take that trade, but it looks like a couple people here did. So the orb over here hit. The breakout did not hit, and the algo entries over here. There's one early pre-market at 4:11 which hit with no drawdown. The one that we took here at 6 o'clock, it was choppy. So what happened is it stopped us out and then it pushed back up and then it spiked on open. So, I would consider this like the trade that we took today a fair loss. It's just one of those trades that where it got to a point where we had to losses are bound to happen. So the next entry that I have is going to be at 7:51, 9:51 right here. I'll put this down. So the next entry I have is not for like another hour, basically. I'll be taking this. I'm going to be following it to see where price goes. I'm hoping we don't get into a chop. So I do like the range here. Our price is going back and forth. What I don't want to happen here is I don't want price to get really tight, like where it starts to squeeze and we get a consolidation. Ideally, wouldn't really want that, but I'll be looking for opportunity right there. So I'm changing the settings over here. These settings are for the next entry that's coming up. This over here is actually a great entry. I think we talked about that, right? So I think I'll just copy this real quick. Yeah, so the 751 is actually a pretty good entry. We looked at the historical data. Historical data show that it hits pretty much every Wednesday. So I do feel comfortable taking this position here. Thing is, it's been on a win streak. So this trade over here at 751, it's been hitting pretty much every day for the past, let's see, one, two, three, four, five. It's currently in a 5 win streak right now. Not that it's a bad thing, but it is on a current win streak. Talanji said Trump, he's like the best and worst at the same time. Trump's first run was amazing, nonstop all-time high. Yeah, that's kind of what happened with him this year too. It is I mean we keep hitting all-time highs, but it's like the weird thing is that it shouldn't be hitting all-time highs. And it just keeps getting pushed up higher and higher. Let's see, CJ said, I blame today's market movement on Gordon Gekko. He's probably dumping thousands of shares of Anacott Steel. Yeah, if you guys have seen that movie with Gordon Gekko. Um, yeah, I mean, there's no real catalyst here pushing price down. Let's see if there's any updates on the news sources. So let's go back to CNBC. I don't think there's any breaking news here. Let's see if there's any updates. So the last update was about 27 minutes ago. Nothing there. Just mentioned that the stocks are opening higher on a Wednesday. It said that stocks are opening higher, but then stocks dropped down like 200 points. Right? That's the ironic thing with CNBC. Whenever you guys look at CNBC, look at the opposite. If they say stocks are opening higher, usually the market does the opposite. So like for example, this was released at basically 6:30. They said stocks are moving up higher and then it did the actual opposite. Let me check ES real quick because they're reporting on ES, not and it did the same thing here. So for ES, they announced that market was going up and then it dumped and then eventually it did come back up. So ES is actually pushing up right now. So if ES pushes up, I do expect YM here to follow. But there's not really any other news events here. There's nothing here to base our analysis off. Which doesn't matter because like I mentioned before, guys, if my algo doesn't identify entries between this period, that means that this is not a good place to be trading because there's no consistency. The good thing with the algo is that it identifies consistency around these periods. Here, this is what I'll do. I'm gonna update my settings here real quick. I'm just gonna change this to this specific hour. So we're gonna look at between because I'm just curious to see like what are the highest probable trades between basically we'll do 6:30 and 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna update my algo right here. What my algo is gonna do is gonna give me the top four trades right here between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, basically our live trading hours. So it's updating right now. You can see right here, my algo is currently updating. It takes about 40 seconds for it to update because what happens is my algo runs through all of the data for the past month basically, and it spits out basically the probabilities of like what's been hitting for the past month. So right now my algo is currently running. Like I said, it takes about 40 seconds. In a few moments, it's going to open up a screener right here, and there we go. So these are the top trades between 6:30 and 8 o'clock with a 40-20 TP stop loss. So right here at 6:30, if you go against momentum, it has a 66.7% win ratio. That's basically the opening trade. The minute after. So if we were to look at that right here, this actually lines up perfectly with the entry right here. So Talanji, I think if you just focus on the 1 minute, but what you have to do is you have to keep updated with like what's the current edge, right? Like you said, you just asked about this earlier, right? You said you were thinking maybe you want to do the opposite. And that this actually confirms your analysis right there. Because your analysis was, okay, if something crazy happens, maybe you should do the opposite. Right here, my algo told us that basically at 6:30, the win ratio is 66.7%, right? So if you took the sell here instead of the buy at 6:30, but you wouldn't take it immediately on open. So you would take it the minute after. You wait for the opening candle to confirm, and then you would take it as soon as that candle closed. So if you took the breakout right here, and then you did, I mean, what we were saying, 80-40, see, that would have went straight to your target right there. This is why the algo is really important because if you guys can, and you guys don't have access to the algo, of course, but um, I'm just showing you guys an example over here. This is the power of the algo because what it does is it pulls data for like what's happening right now, right? Talanji is looking for some sort of confirmation that has been repeating itself for like the past year, but the past year's data doesn't really matter, right? You want to focus on what's happening right here, right now. And the algo over here shows that you should be going against momentum on open. Not immediately on open, but you wait for that first candle to open up. Once the 6:30 candle opens, then you enter for the opposite direction. The second one here that has a high win ratio or a high win rate would be the 752 entry. Right? So we're looking for the 751. There's another one right here at 752, which is supposed to be with momentum, which lines up with our entry right here. Yeah, no, definitely. Rashida said patiently waiting so I can test it in other assets. So look, here's the trick. Let's go to I know there's no entries here right now, so let's go check something like NQ, right? A lot of you guys like to trade NQ. That's a big popular asset. Let's go to NQ real quick. So this is NQ. I'm gonna pull up all of the basically the top four trades between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, because that's where the volatility is the highest. So I'm gonna pull up NQ real quick. You can see here my algorithm is currently running right now. It's pulling data for NQ. And it's going to give me the top four trades here. The TP stop loss might be different. I'm not sure what TP stop loss you guys use personally for NQ. If you guys have like a specific TP stop loss that you guys use during, I guess for NQ, because I just don't trade NQ, so I'm not sure what the TP stop loss would be. Here, let me see if I can maybe eyeball it. I think maybe a 150 might work. Okay, let me just change that real quick. So I'll do 100 and then 50 right here. And I'll kind of just play around with the numbers. You can see my algo right here. It gives like the perfect times to take entry. They're not that great, but the best one right here is going to be at six, or sorry, not six, 736. Probability is 64.7. Yeah, the thing is I don't trade NQ, so I don't know what the perfect numbers are, or not even the perfect numbers, but whatever the good numbers are for TP stop loss on NQ. So Rashida uses 100, 200. Okay, let me put that in real quick. So I'll put 200 right there and 100 right there. Okay, so I see what I did wrong here. So it's calculated in ticks. So to do 100, 200, I got to do 50, 25. There we go. This is so 50, 25 points is equivalent to 100, 200 ticks. All right, so I'm just putting the data in right here and it's now updating. So the report over here just updated for the algo. I think it's still updating. Let me refresh this real quick. But yeah, I'll try to get this. My goal is to get this out to you guys by the end of this week. I just haven't published the algo on TradingView yet, so nobody can see this, can see my algo. It's just me. Um, but once I publish it, you guys will be able to see it. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the numbers over here. The numbers don't look so great for a for NQ with this specific TP stop loss. And the way that I kind of work around this, guys, is I just move this by a little bit, right? So I go to 40-25, 40-20, and I just play with the TP stop losses until I figure out what has the highest win ratio. Right. So right now I updated it to 40-20. So right here, having a tighter TP stop loss, the win ratio actually goes up. So if you wanted to take like a trade here for NQ, looks like at 736, if you take it with momentum, it has a 60.7% win ratio. At 641, if you take it against, you have a 61.1% win ratio. Let me just go a little tighter. I'm just going to try to see if it works better if it's tighter, if it works better if it's wider. So I'm kind of just playing with the data here. I'm putting in the numbers and I'm trying to see what has a higher win ratio. Okay, so the win ratio goes a little bit lower if you go too tight. Let's check this real quick. I'm just trying to find a sweet spot that has like the highest probability of winning. Okay, so this one's actually really good. So if you use a 60-30, which I think is I don't know what the numbers are, I'll have to like do the calculations on it. But basically, if you use a 60-30 points and you translate this to ticks, it has a 66.7% win ratio. If you took the trade at 635, if you took it at 636 with momentum, 66.7% win ratio. And if you take it right here at 632, it has a win ratio of 61.1. So it looks like 60-30 might be the number that you guys want to look at. Again, I don't trade NQ, so this wouldn't be useful to me. But for people who like to trade NQ, I mean, this could be game changer, right? To be giving you guys like perfect entries to be taking. Okay, so let me just try one more here. Let's go back to YM real quick. YM is correcting back up. Again, we still don't have my entry until about 751, so I'm not looking to take anything here. It looks like it's creating a W pattern. Price pushes back up higher. Looks like it's correcting back to open. So opening price is right here. Looks like we might be getting Ricks back to open here. If that becomes the case. Okay, so I think 60-30 is probably going to be the best option. I'm just going to update this one more time. And I'm just showing you guys like the power of this tool, right? This tool is going to be very useful for a lot of you who want to trade different assets because my algo works on pretty much every asset. You know, whether you want to trade YM, ES, NQ, GC, RT, any of those assets, it yields a pretty good profit. So looking over here, I'm just going to pull the data for 635. So basically 635 Pacific, 935 Eastern. I'm updating the report right here. The report gives a 66.7% win ratio. Let's go back to that trade that happened on that day. So this was yesterday at about 6:35, which can be right here. So here's a short position. I'm gonna do the calculations real quick. Okay, so looking at this right here, it looks like this is gonna be 250 or 240 actually. It looks like a 240 target, and a 120. So 240 ticks target, 120 tick stop loss. This over here provides opportunity for, see what the win ratio is looking like. So basically, if you were to take this trade on NQ, and the profitability here is going to update real quick, it basically won 11 out of 18 trades. So if you're looking at the trade analysis here, it had 11 trades. So I don't know what the contract sizes equate to, but if you were trading NQ here, it basically had 11 wins and 7 losses. So 11 times, what was it, 240? 11 times 240. And then you multiply this 7 times 120. So 2640 minus 840. So if you took basically every trade for the past month at 635, you'd have a 66.7% win ratio. Your total net ticks would be 1,800. I don't know what the calculation is or how much each tick is worth, but if we're to do like basic math here and say you're doing like maybe, I don't know, like 5 contracts, 5 times 1,800, it's basically a 45,000 potential profit if you're just trading NQ with this TP stop loss. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys a little example of like how you can use my algo on different assets. go back to YM. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, if you were to, the good thing with that is that if YM here isn't giving a lot of good entries, you can always trade something else, right? You can trade ES, you can trade NQ, you could trade gold, you could trade whatever you want. Um, the thing, the criteria doesn't really change very much. You're still looking for the same thing. So let's go back to the setup here. So the setup that I'm looking for again is going to be at 751. So let me just change the settings here, 4020. 751 is going to be 951 here. And I think I have the criteria. And I always hit that button on accident. The criteria over here is going to be, let's see, 630 to 8. All right, so we're back to our entry for today at 751. Again, we have a 64.7% win ratio probability. Not win ratio, but probability of it hitting. And I'm still waiting for it here to come back to that point. So basically what I'm looking for here is I'm looking at the data. The data doesn't really give us much because there's no other entries around this period. This is why a lot of times I like to have a long list of data points because the data points are going to indicate whether price is going to go with momentum or against. Right here, it just says with, but not, we don't really have the confluences on it. Let's see, Sam said, since shutdown NQ range first 30 minutes, so avoid that. Yeah, exactly. So like what Sam said is, ever since the government shutdown, markets NQ's kind of been ranging for the first 30 minutes. And that's the good thing with the algo because the algo showed that, you shouldn't be entering right at open. You should be entering like earlier, like an hour before or an hour later. So there's no entries for me right now. Looks like Solange here caught the MPS V2. If you guys caught that right there, the MPS V2 came up right on this candle. We had a buy signal, retracement, confirmation on this green one. And that would have been an MPS V2 to the upside. Yeah, so there's still trade opportunities to take here, guys. It's just the probabilities for these trades aren't very high from what I'm seeing. My next entry point's at 751, so we still got about like 40, 50 minutes until then. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. There's only a couple entries here which we looked at for today, which would be the one here pre-market 411 that hit, and then the one at 6 o'clock which didn't hit. I'm gonna try to clean this up a little bit, or I'll leave it as is. It's not really a big deal. I'll just leave it there. Um, but yeah, let's see if I don't think that there's not too much analysis we can do for this trade here at 751 because we're so far from it that we don't have anything else to look at until price gets closer. We can't look at price action. We can't look at, I mean, I don't even look at price action, but we can't kind of see where it's going until we get closer to this time period right here. So one question that I've been getting a lot is, how does the algo work? The way that this algo works, the one that I created, what it does is it tracks momentum 24 hours a day. So like right now, it's specifically looking between this period of time because that's where I set my algo to. I had it look at historical data to see where the momentum is moving between 6:30 and 8 o'clock. Right, that's just kind of where I'm telling it to look right now. What it's telling me right here is that the momentum tends to move at 6:30, which is market open, 7:52 right here, 7:22, and 6:33. So basically, these are the top times when market moves between 8:30 or 6:30 and 8 o'clock. And what my algo does is that it runs the data pretty much 24 hours. So it pulls, if you think about it, so let's see, how many minutes are in a 1,044? So there's 1,000. So let's put algo runs or tracks momentum 24 hours a day for 18 full days. So if you were to do the math here, basically there is, and this is why my algo takes it forever for it to load the data because there's so much data. So basically it tracks it every day for 18 full days by the minute, right? There is 1,440 minutes in a day, right? So 1,440 minutes in a day. And there is, and it does 18 days, right? So every time my algo gets updated, it runs 25,000. What was it? 25,920. So this is why my algo takes a long time for it to load the data. So like for example here, see how I'm just gonna put a random timer. So say for example right here, I want to see what the probabilities are at like 7:52, right? So see how it says update report? When I click this right here, what it does is it runs every possible minute for every trade that comes up with a 40/20 TP stop loss. And see how it's done? It basically, instead of going through each candle here, my algo basically ran through all the data and it spat out how many trades came up. So basically out of 17 trading days or 17 trades, there was 11 like days where the trade hit at this specific time. So every day for the past 17 trading days at 7:52, if you were to take a trade with momentum, it would have hit 11 out of the 17 days. So every time I update my algo here, it runs the data. Basically, it runs 25,920 candles and it gives me the probability and it gives me all the data here. So that's why this tool is super powerful because it pretty much gives you all of the information that you need, right? If you want to trade at 7:52, or like for example, we're trading at 7:51, it'll tell you how profitable is it if you take a trade at this time. So let's just look at this for an example, right? So right now it is 7:21 or 7:22. Like say for example, you wanted to take a trade on this close right here, right? I'll add the data right here. So 7:22, I'll just change this to 22. Okay, now my algo is running to 25,920 1 minute candles. And it's going to tell me what the probability here is if we take this for a sell. So if you were to take this for a sell, you have a 35% chance of it hitting. So am I going to take this trade here for a sell? Probably not, right? Because the data here shows that over the past 17 days, this thing doesn't really move to the downside, right? If we were to do the opposite, let's say, for example, instead of taking a sell here, what if we took a buy? Now let me update the report and let's see how this number here changes. So this is what I mean about using my algo to pull data. Like the algo doesn't trade for you, but it pulls data. It tells you what the probability of the trade is hitting. So right here, if I was to take a buy for a 40/20, it gives me a 52 or 53% possibility of it hitting, right? And you can see right here, so my algo just entered a position here because it's tracking what we just put in the data. So if you were to take this for a buy, you have a 52% chance. You know, if you wanted to take a gamble and you want to take a buy or sell at a random time, you can put the algo in and the algo will give you the probabilities. If you take a buy here, your odds of this hitting for a buy is going to be 52%. If you take a sell here, your odds of winning would be 32%, right? So which odds am I going to take? Obviously, I'm going to take the buy here versus the sell because this is telling me that price is going to push up for a certain amount of period. So like this is the power of this because if you want to trade if you want to trade just random times throughout the day, you can literally just put in the number there and look at the trade outs now pushing up. Let's see what it would look like here. See, this is a trade that's currently running. The probabilities aren't very high, but you still have probability right there. You have a 52% chance of this trade hitting. I'm not in this position. I just wanted to show you guys a real life example. This thing's probably gonna hit. Right? I literally did this in front of your eyes. I pulled the algo. I had a prediction of like what's gonna happen right now at this very moment. And the algo told me that it's if you took a buy here, you have a 52% chance. And look, it's about to hit full TP. It's crazy how smart this is, but the algo just it pulls so much data that look, there you go, full TP right there. I literally did this in front of you guys. Like I just pulled the algo up and I came up with this position without even doing any analysis. There's no analysis there. This is all based off data. It shows me that every day, and there you go, full TP, at every day at 7:50 at 7:22, the probability right here showed me that this would happen, right? And look what happened, it hit. Yeah, Talanji said, wow, you deserve it, bro. Broke the whole game. So, this is what kind of showed me that they showed me that technical analysis, there's nothing wrong with technical analysis, but if you have the data, you don't really need technical analysis anymore because the data tells you exactly where price is going to go, right? For example, so this trade right here hit. Let's look at this one again right here, right? So let's see. This candle is at 725. Now let me give you guys a probabilities at 725. It's crazy. It's like this algo is just it just kind of blows my mind, honestly, in a sense. It does blow my mind kind of because I can take trades. So right here, if I was to take so if we were to take this is again, so if you were to take a sell right here, you'd have a 29% chance of it hitting, right? Let's go with momentum. Come on, we got a few seconds here. We got 5 seconds. So if we go with momentum, then you have a 47. I don't like the probabilities here, right? I like it to be above 50. But if you do take a trade here for a buy, you have a 47% probability of it hitting. So like typically I like to take trades that have higher probability. I'd like to take it if it's like more of like we'll say like above a 60% or so. So again, right here, this is a 47% probability. So this is what I mean. When you guys have my tool here, this is going to be pretty much game changer for you guys. Because if you want to just take trades like by the minute, you can literally just run the stats and you can see what the stats look like for this very minute. And you can take trades literally on the minute. Like you don't have to wait for, like, for example, I have a specific time that I want to take trades here because my probabilities are very high, right? So I kind of plan my trades out. But if you just want to take trades by the minute, you can literally pull it up. So right here, look, this thing's probably going to hit again. Look at that. I called this out right in front of you guys. Probability is not high, but if you're doing a 1 to 2, you just need above a 33% here. Anything above 33% is good probability for a 1 to 2. Yeah, but I'm not taking these trades, obviously. We'll check for the next one again. So I'll just keep moving the numbers over a little bit. So let's see. This is the next candle is going to be at 728. So I'm just going to change the number over here so we can kind of look ahead by one candle. Let's see what my algo is saying here. And this is just the power of the algo. It's like I'm not even looking at anything. I'm just looking at the data. So if you look over here, the probabilities are still not very high. At 750 or 728, it has a 47% probability of it hitting. Again, I don't like these numbers. I like the numbers to be closer to above 65. So, I mean, this wouldn't be a trade that I decide to take here. And if I wanted to just keep updating it, I could literally just keep updating it by the minute. See, we're currently at the 728. If I want to see where it moves next, I'll go to 729. And then I just keep updating it. See, and then you can see here that the the probability goes lower and lower. So it doesn't necessarily it doesn't make it a bad trade, but it just gives you the probabilities of it pushing. What this is showing here is this is indicating that the market's not really moving around this period. So although the trade may hit, like this could probably hit, The problem is that the data here shows that it doesn't really move very often, right? You want to see consistency with the win ratio. Like for example, down here, you want to see this be consistently to the upside or consistently to the downside. This is more of an even ratio, right? Because you can see price wins a little bit, comes down, wins a little bit, comes down, wins a little bit, comes down. It's a break-even time to trade. This does have some drawdown right here, basically a 3-day drawdown. And these are all data points that I look at. So that's why this specific trade, I personally wouldn't be looking to take it. I'm looking for something that has a higher win ratio or a higher probability at least. So again, I'm going to go back over here and and if you guys want to trade with a higher TP stop loss, you can always just shift these numbers and the profitability here will change a little bit. Like for example, right now is a dead market, right? So instead of taking a 40-20, maybe you want to take a 30-15. I'll update the report. We'll see if the profitability here changes a little bit. So it's at 41 right now. Doesn't make a big difference, right? And you can see over here my stats, see how the long position changed? Now there's another entry right there. So I'm hoping to get this available to you guys. If you guys want access to, these tools, just go to the website. You'll only get access to this if you already had access to it before. For new people who sign up late, you're probably not going to have access to the algo. I'm only giving it for people to test who are already part of the group. So if you're part of the group today, like say, for example, if you have access to the indicators today, when I release this algo, or not release it, but I temporarily release it to the public, or not to the public, but to our little community here. So basically, if you want access to the algo, guys, make sure that you have the indicators by this week. If you don't have the indicators by this week, you're not going to have access to the algo. The only people who will have access to this algo is going to be people who have access to the indicators um, by the end of this week or just by this week, because I'm going to have a list of people who already have access to it, and you'll be able to use this algo. Because we don't really want to share this with the public, right? Not the general public. If you guys are here in the community, great, you guys can have access to it and play around with it. But I don't want to make this available to like the whole world because you guys can see how strong this algo is. This isn't something you necessarily want to share with the whole world, right? This is an edge that we want to keep within this community. So whoever's here, you guys can use it. It's a pretty strong tool if you know how to use it properly. Um, and the thing is, there's profits to go around. Like not everybody here likes to trade NQ, so it's completely fine with me. If you guys want to trade ES or sorry, that not everybody trades YM. So if you want to trade it on a different asset, that's perfectly fine because I don't trade on every asset. So I mainly just trade on YM. And if you guys want to trade this on something else, the thing is this works on pretty much everything. If you want to use it on Forex, if you guys want to use it on stocks, if you want to use it on whatever, really. I mean, you guys will have full reign on whatever you guys want to use my algo on. So yeah, if you guys want access to the algo, if you want to test it out and kind of play around with it, use it to your own advantage. Again, just make sure you have access to the indicators this week because there's going to be a cutoff. And then if you decide to sign up for the indicators at the end of the week or next week, you're not going to be on that list of people with access to it. Because we really just want to keep it within. So, all right, guys, this trade over here that I mentioned earlier, it's about to hit target. So this was another entry at 725. There's nothing for me here right now, but this is the trade that we kind of just discussed a few minutes ago, and another full TP right there. This kind of has got me thinking. It kind of makes me want to take or run the algo minute by minute because it looks like, if you run it minute by minute, there's actually pretty nice probability of the trades hitting. Like this thing was, we did this live, like right before the candle closed, and the probability wasn't super high. It was like a 52% probability, and it still hit pretty nicely. So this entry was at 725. EJ said, would we need the 250? Yes, that you would need it because you need the indicators. So that's the one that you would need, EJ. But I mean, you pretty much make that back with like one trade, right? If you were to take any of these trades here, like if you wanted to take every single trade, you probably could, and then you would be able to you probably recoup that pretty quickly. Basically, one of these algo entries is like let's see if you do one contract. So I was trying to break down the numbers for someone. They were trying to see if they could take every single trade. If you want to just take one trade here, so 1 times 5 times 40, you make basically 200 bucks. If you were to take the minimal contract size of one per trade on YM, if you took like a bunch, you'd basically make like 200 per trade. You'd so you'd risk 100 to make 200. This was something that someone asked me. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to basically automate the algo. You can automate the algo if you wanted to, but I personally don't like doing that. I like taking less trades that are higher quality. But if you wanted to take the algo on every single trade that came up, like based on probabilities, I mean, you could win a lot of entries here. So for example, if you won this one, this would be a win, this would be a win, this would be a win. There actually would be a lot of wins here if you were to just trace the entries, right? Like for example, we ran this algo from this candle right here all the way up to these, right? So like you'd have a win there, you'd have a win there, you'd have another win right there, and you just have a bunch of wins here that just keep stacking up. So if that's the way that you want to trade, guys, and you just want to take every single entry that comes up, you can take it with a minimal risk. You'd make 200 per trade and you'd lose 100 per trade. So if you're just to follow the algo every single candle based on the probabilities, I mean, you could probably make a pretty decent profit. This has kind of got me thinking now. Now that I've seen this and I've actually seen it happen real time, I'm actually a little curious to. So I'm gonna run the numbers again right here. So let's go back to, so right here, this candle is 735. I'm just curious because like here's the thing, if it's actually a good idea, but you got to be very you got to be very quick with updating the algo. So again, right here, it has a 47% probability of it winning if you went with momentum. So for example, right here, you would take the buy. You can see the long position pulled up right there. Like if you took every trade that comes up, I'm just curious now because if we were to take every trade that came up, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have taken this one because the probability is so low. I'd probably keep it at least above a 50. If it's not above 50, I probably just wouldn't take it. Yeah, the probability at this specific time, it's just not very high. It's not high, but it's also not that bad. You just need it to be above a 33. It's above a 33%. Like basically you're taking a coin flip and you have this thing is actually cool with man, what's that thing called? A lot of people like to trade this thing called pocket option. If you guys ever traded that pocket option, because you could trade the whether you could bet whether price is gonna go up, price is gonna go down. Like if you were to trade on that website, you can kind of run the algo and kind of predict where price is gonna go for the next 5 minutes or so. Like if you were to do pocket options for like 5 minutes, you could you could kind of just you could have a probability on your side where price is gonna push to. Yeah, Rashida said I used to love Pocket Option. I did too until I blew my account on there. Pocket Option's fast. It's fun. It's fun, but it's fast. Like basically if you guys have ever traded Pocket Option, by the minute you can bet whether price is gonna go up or down. And you might be right, you might be wrong, but you can make a lot of money fast and you could also lose a lot of money fast. But I think if you have this probability here, that's a bet that I would probably be willing to take. Uh, let's see. Talanji's asking, is there like six best times in an hour to run it? I mean, you could always break it down, Solange. So like later on when you have access to the algo, you can just break it down. Like for example, if you just wanted to see what are the top trades between like 6 and 6:30, you can do that. You can't do the top six, but you can just break down the numbers to get the actual entries. Like you can do between 6 and 6:10, 6:10 and 6:20, 6:10 and 6:30. And it's going to give you different times. So you can literally just write down, whatever is the best probabilities during that period. Like if you only want to trade during that period, then yeah, you can look. But yeah, like you said, the probability is going to be the best. You want to go with whatever has the highest profitability here. Yeah, before pocket option, there was this other thing called Nadex. If you guys ever traded that, there's all these like they're not scammy, but they're they're like they're gambling basically. It's basically like an online casino. Um, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how those ones work. There's a lot of manipulation on those though, so I wouldn't recommend it. Let's see. David said, I'm thinking the features are less sporadic, probably have higher probabilities as well. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does. It just kind of depends on like where you're looking to trade. So, all right, guys, my trade is coming up pretty soon, or not pretty soon. It's going to happen in a bit. It's happening at about in about 10 minutes. 7:39 right now. My entry's at 7:51, so this is what I'm waiting for. The reason why I'm waiting for 7:51 is because this has a higher win percentage. So the probability of this trade playing through is a 64.71. It's not like a super high percentage of probability, but it's better than others. This is one of my target entries. It's considered a great entry. It has hit pretty much every Wednesday. All right, so there's not much going on here, guys. Um, there is not too much going on. But like I said, if you guys want to trade by the minute, I mean, you guys can. If you want to just run the algo by the minute, I don't recommend it. But if that's something you guys like to do, then you guys are more than welcome to when you guys have access to it. Can respond to this real quick. All right, so let me see. Just responding to a couple people right now. All right, so I'm not in any of these positions right here, guys. The next position that I'm looking to get into is going to be right here at 7:51. Let me go back. I'm just going to put the stats back to 7:51 so we can kind of see what I'm looking for and what we can kind of pull from the data here. I'm just going to do a full analysis of this trade at 7:51. So my trade right here is coming up at 7:51. I am pulling up the statistics here. So my trade at 7:51, this has a 64.71 probability of the trade hitting for momentum, meaning that going with the direction of momentum. It's 111 out of the 17 trades. Looking over here at the list of trades, we did this earlier, but I'll do it again. So basically, the way that I do this, and this is how I analyze whether a trade is a good entry or not a good entry. What I do here is I first look for the trade that has the highest probability. Once I have that right there, and you can see it's a number two trade on the list right here. It's at 752. We're doing 751, but 752, either one, it's fine. 752 is the trade right here. It's going to line up with the prior. Going with momentum, it has a 64.7% win ratio, wins 11 out of the 17 trades. So this number here is good. I usually start off with the profitability or probability of it hitting. If it's above a 60, usually I want to be closer to 65, but this is probably as close as it'll get for this specific period because nothing else here goes over 64.71. So this over here indicates that it is a pretty pretty probable trade that's going to hit. Once I have that probability right there, I look to see at the historical data of trades, and I try to see. Well, initially, I like to see if there's drawdown for this trade, right? The drawdown for this trade happened basically between September 18th to September 23rd. Since then, it's been pretty much on a bullish run. So you can see here, there's like one loss, pushes back up, one loss right here, kind of break even for a couple days. And then it goes for a really nice bullish string over here. So that's going to show that this here is a strong time to enter the trade. That momentum is typically running around this period. The next thing that I look at is the history of trades, right? Today's Wednesday. So today's Wednesday, October 8th. I typically look back at the previous Wednesdays. I want to see if Wednesday is like one of the days where it typically hits or if it typically loses. Last Wednesday was October 1st. You can see over here that it won the trade. The Wednesday before that was September 24th, and it won the trade the Wednesday before that. And then the Wednesday before that was September 17th. So pretty much every Wednesday, the trade has hit. And using this data, this indicates that, okay, this trade here has a high probability of it hitting or a pretty decent probability of it hitting, has very minimal drawdown period. And looking at the history of this trade on Wednesdays, it typically hits. So with that being said, that's why this trade became one of my target entries because I pretty much checked those boxes off, right? Good probability. Like I said before, guys, you can never be 100% about your trade. So, once you get that across your head that you're never going to be 100%, then you can build off your probability and your confidence in the trade. So these trades over here that we were looking at earlier, like I mentioned, these weren't high probable trades, right? These were like maybe a 50% probability of it hitting. So it's not considered a good trade in my opinion. The other thing that I look at, so I look at all that data, right? I look at the overall profitability and probability of the trade. I look at the history trades. The next thing that I do is I like to go back in the history to see how long does these trades hit, right? So let's go back to the trade from yesterday. Yesterday on October 7th. So this trade over here was for a sell. I can't remember if we took this trade, but this trade over here was for a sell. It came down, hit target right there, right? This trade hit within 5 minutes. 5 minutes of trade hit. That's good. I like the trade hitting within 5-10 minutes. Let's go back to the previous entry from the day before that. So this one over here as well, this was a buy position. You can see the trade came up right here at 751. It was for a buy with momentum. And then it hit right there. This thing took a little bit longer, but it eventually did hit. This thing took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 minutes right here, the trade hit full TP. Then I go back to the previous entry over here. I just like to look back at the most recent data to see how the momentum is moving. Right here again, short position. Entry happened at 751. Again, right there, this hit target. It took about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what I'm expecting here is when I take that trade at 751, the trade should hit within 10 minutes. If it doesn't hit within 10 minutes, there might be, something peculiar about the day that's making it kind of go sideways. So again, right here, another short position. So this entry at 751 has been hitting pretty consistent. I think it's been on a win streak for maybe 5 or 6 trades now. Right here, this is again against momentum. This one took a little bit longer, but it still eventually hit. So this took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this took about 18 minutes to hit. So this just shows you that, if the trade doesn't hit right away, there's no need to worry. Sometimes it just takes a while for it to hit. So that's pretty much my whole process of identifying, whether a trade is good or whether it's not good, is I look at the overall probability of it hitting over the 18 or 17 trading day period. I look at the historical data of the trades on Wednesdays, and I look at the previous trades to see how long it usually takes to hit. No, for this one, Rashida, I'm doing a 2040 because I'm going for this one right here at 751. If you wanted to do the one at, or I mean, you could do either one. You could do 2040 or 2550. What I'm probably going to do here is I'll go for the 2040, and then when price hits the 40, I'll move my stop loss and profit to the 40 to guarantee the 40 and still shoot for the 50. So instead of doing like a 1 to 2 risk to reward, this will probably be closer to like a 1 to 2.5 or a 1 to 2 point whatever, right? It's just a little, you get a little more profit on this trade. Your risk stays lower, but you have an opportunity to shoot for a higher target. So yeah, there's two different setups here that are setting up, um, where you can go for the bigger move or you can go for the smaller move. So you can go for whichever one you like. It has the same win percentage, but I'm gonna keep it tight, and then I'm gonna probably try to go for a bigger target. I mean, it just depends on how the volatility moves. It might move fast, it might move slow. Um, the one thing that I don't really like here very much is the fact that it's kind of moving a little. It's moving a little sideways. But it's all right. Like I said, I'm going based off the probabilities here. I don't care about the price action that much. The other thing that I would be kind of concerned with is if we get a momentum on this candle. I don't like when the momentum comes up right before it. So pretty much set on looking for a buy here. It's not on this candle, it's on the next one, guys. So still gonna sit tight for a little bit here. This candle's got about 10 seconds left on it. All right. So I'll be looking for this right here. Looking for a possible buy entry. About 40 seconds left on this here. At about 30 seconds. Looks like we're kind of in this chop, but this is fine. We got 20 seconds here. Looking to get into this for the buy, of course, with momentum. We got 10 seconds here. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Get into the position right there. All right, let me check the criteria. All right, perfect. Got that set up right there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the trade run, and then I'm gonna go
Order filled.
run to the restroom real quick. Actually, I'm gonna get some water. I think been drinking too much coffee. This caffeine's like gets my heart racing for these entries. All right, the trade's running right there. It's in profit. Let's go over here real quick. Okay, so I'm in profit about 200 right now, 300. I was thinking about maybe adjusting my target a little bit, but I think I'm just gonna let it be. Just gonna let it go to that 40 right there. So, all right, I got the trade running right there. Um, I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water and then I'll be right back. The stop. So here's the parameters right here, Rashida. The stop is at 46,918. Target's at 46,978. And you can see it right here on my chart too. It's gonna be the green and the red right there. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna step away for 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. Trade's still running. Not much volatility here. It's just kind of going back and forth. So again, like I said, with my trades here, I take half risk, so it doesn't really make a big impact on my account, whether it's a win or a loss. The times when it does have a big impact is when we have like a win streak, right? Like we had a pretty big win streak for this week so far. So like when you have a win streak, the wins start to add up pretty quickly because we are doing a 1 to 2. So basically we make double profit on the wins and then half on the losses. So this is why I've been sticking to these 1 to 2s. The 1 to 2s are pretty good because the losses don't hurt that much, and the wins, once you hit a win streak, the wins start to add up pretty quickly. So I'm in profit right now, 6 points, about 200 in profit cash wise. We're kind of stuck right here at the Asia high. So I think if we get break past this Asia high and hold above it, I think it's gonna push up to its target. Let's see. Rashida said her copy entries suck. What happened with yours, Rashida? Let me see. Mine actually are pretty decent. The good thing is that the volatility was pretty flat at the entry point. So my copiers actually are pretty good. All right, we're pushing up to profit. I'm in profit about 20 points. I'm almost halfway to target point and profit about 520 right now. I'm not really touching the trade. It's gonna let it be. Like I said, if we can hold above this Asia high, then it should be pretty good. Because we have liquidity sitting up here, right? We got liquidity hanging out right here. So I would like price to come up and pretty much knock out this liquidity. If it comes out and grabs liquidity up here, then it's just going to blast right through to our target. That is what I'm looking for. Let's see. Chris said his too. Weird. Yeah, so Chris said his copier looks terrible too. 8 tick difference. That's a pretty big difference. Yeah, Rashida said her Tradeify is her main. She's up 150. Apex is copying only up 90. Yeah, that's weird. Um, I don't really see slippage across mine. Mine looks fine. So that is a little unusual that you guys are seeing that kind of slippage. Unless it's internet connection. I've been seeing a lot of internet connection problems on my end. I don't know if that's what I've noticed over the years, and you guys have noticed this too. Whenever the weather gets cold, for some reason my internet starts to suck. I get a lot of disconnects. I get like I don't know what it is, but for some reason I get a lot of connection issues for the most part. Thankfully, right now I'm not really getting that. It's decent for me. All right, the volatility here is still kind of flat, like I mentioned. Again, like I said, we have liquidity sitting down here, or up here actually. So I'd like price to push up and blast through the liquidity. It is 8 o'clock right now, so either the volume is going to pick up or it's going to stay flat. I'm hoping it picks up, but I'm not touching the position. I'm probably not going to adjust it either. I'll just leave it at the 40. I'm in profit like about 800, about 900 right now. So you can see my active P&L right here on the side. In profit, pretty decent. I'm 22 points in profit, so I'm more than halfway to profit target, 25 points in profit. We're getting to that 30 point pretty soon. The good thing with the algo is that it shows that it pushes, sometimes up to 50 points up. So this could probably just blast through the target, which is gonna be good. It's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I'm in profit right now about 900. You can see my active P&L. Profit about 1,000 right now. 27 points in profit, so I'm trying to reach that full target right there, 40 points. Again, I'm not touching the trade at all. I'm just letting the trade run. It's on its way up 33 points. Just let it do what it needs to do. Target's at 46,978. And profit 1,020 right there. Let's get to that 40. Let's go! Birthday present. Woo!
Target filled.
All right, so let's go. This one over here didn't hit on mine, but cool little birthday present for me right there. All right, so we got the win right there. We had a small loss earlier, but it's all good. It's a 2 hour trade, so we are
Order
back.
filled.
Order filled right there, all out. I'm out. The stats pretty solid right there. Uh, yeah, price is pushing through. Let's see. I think some of mine are still. Yeah, let me see what I got here. Are some of my trades still running? Okay, just want to make sure all of them are out. This kind of like threw me off a little bit because the numbers were kind of thrown off right there. But it looks like all of my accounts are out. Looks like my copier did have a couple issues, guys. I mean, the profits look fine, but at the time, for some reason, my copier was like kind of red. But yeah, really nice birthday present right there. I was really hoping we weren't going to close today in the red because that would kind of piss me off on my birthday. But we had one loss right here at 6 o'clock, and then we had another trade over here at 7:51, which was a win. So we are in total profit for the day and for the week. I'll show you guys my profits. Not profits aren't super huge, but I'll take what I can get, especially on a day like this where the market is kind of all over the place, right? Volatility is not consistent. So today we had two wins. Um, two wins for two wins, one loss for how much for 3R. Okay, so not bad. Pretty good day overall. You can see right there, my stats show that the exit was pretty perfect. It's pretty spot on. We had a little bit of some chop here on open, but the algo was spot on. We had the criteria right there lined up, 64.71. And yeah, great entry, guys. So the win this specific time, so 7:51. Look at the win streak. This is crazy, right? It's been hitting one, two, three, four, five, six back-to-back win streak right now for this trade at 7:51. Pretty nice. Rashida said her top step didn't close. She's still in, but all of her other accounts are out. Okay, it's probably gonna hit right now, Rashida, because it's gonna push right through. The thing is, the algo anticipated a possible 50-point move. So you might be able to you're probably gonna get pulled out pretty soon. It's gonna push right through it. It looks like it's gonna retest that liquidity and then hopefully blast right through. I'm hoping it does that for you so you can get out. Otherwise, if you're happy with your profits, you can just pull out. Just up to nice work, Alad. Man, Alad is on fire. Alad messaging me. He's asking me if he should get to his 20 accounts, and I'm like, if you feel confident, the algo over here. This is like, if you want to just pass, well, not even just pass accounts, but if you want to be consistent, if you follow my algo trades here, you should find consistency long term, guys. There should be no problem with you passing accounts, getting funded, and then getting consistent payouts if you just follow my algo trades. Because the algo trades, we're trading based off probability, right? Like for example, today we took a loss right here at 6 o'clock, but then we took a win right here. So it doesn't really matter because we lost 20 points here, we made 40 points here. You made back the loss, plus you made profit on top of it. So nice. Alad said 1/3 away from funding on day 3. So Alad has taken 3 trades and then he's a third of the way to getting his accounts funded. That's amazing, Alad. And Alad here has never traded futures before. Alad, we're just met through mutual friends at the gym. So you might see him, Chris. So there's a couple people in here, Alad from the gym. Chris, Ryan, Sam, of course. I haven't seen Sam on the live sessions. I don't know if you've talked to him a lot. I see Sam at the gym, but I don't see him on the live sessions. I think he has to drop off his kids to school, so he probably isn't be able to, he's not able to get on here as much. But yeah, I'm happy to see that you're finding consistency a lot with your trades. And this just goes to show because a lot's like one of the people that doesn't really have a futures trading background. A lot has traded stocks in the past, but this is a whole different game. And he's able to find consistency just trading our algo trades here. So definitely excited for you, Lod. Once you get those accounts funded and you get those payouts, it's time to celebrate. Yeah, definitely. Um, all right, so let me take a screenshot of this. Yeah, Jarrell said, what a day. Happy birthday again, Sean. Definitely, Jarrell. Definitely. Chris, it looks like you might have pulled out of your positions. Look like Ben got it, Brett got it, Karen got it, Smith got it, CJ got it. Looks like a lot of people, everyone here pretty much got it and then wrapped it up. So let me take a screenshot of my accounts for the day, and then I'll take I'm just gonna pull this down a little bit so you can take a better screenshot of like of what we got. I'm gonna go ahead and so these are the trades that we identified for the day. There's actually more entries which came up. I only took a couple, but these are the ones that we identified. So for today, we had a win at 411, which is right here. This was a 2R trade, so that was a plus 2R. We took the trade right here at 6 o'clock. This was a loss. Unfortunately, it spiked us out. So this was a loss for 1R. And then we had a win right here at 751 for 2R. So pretty spot on with the entries right there. Let me go ahead and, this thing's not really necessary, actually. Drag this down a little bit. So let me take a screenshot of this real quick so that you guys can see what entries we had for the day. And yeah, what a way to close today. Crazy trading day a little bit, but nothing we couldn't handle, right? So this here was breakout entry for 50 points. Let me take a screenshot of all of my accounts up here. It's been a kind of a spotty week, but it's okay. I mean, this is just, it's one of those weeks where it's just kind of spotty with regard to consistency. The reason why I say that is because the trades just kind of, if they haven't been super, the volatility momentum just hasn't really been there as it has in the past, but we're making the best of it. So let me just post up my profits real quick. I'll show you guys. Where I'm at for the day. Okay, so here are my profits. I guess I could go on this screen and show you guys. So this is the trade we took right there. Here are our profits. It's all green for the day and all green for the week. Nothing super crazy, but yes, we did make some pretty solid profits right there. That's my second set of accounts. Here's my other set. But yeah, those are my stats right there. So those are my profits across the board. Let's see if I can update my trader sync real quick. Update my trader sync. Hopefully this doesn't take forever. I mean, it's always been kind of an issue updating my trader sync. All right, so price is still pushing up. I don't know if you're still in the position, Rashida, but I think you probably should have gotten pulled out by now. I'm hoping you got pulled out. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so she's out of her top step now. Perfect. Chris said got it. Slippage stuck, but win is a win. Yeah, definitely. Now, I'm glad both of you guys got out, Chris and Rashida. Sometimes that happens where the volatility is too high, but for me, I didn't really see volatility being that high, so I'm surprised that you guys got caught in that chop, unfortunately. It's all good though. I'm glad that you guys got out of it, so it's key. Key thing is that you guys got out of the position with profit. And I mean that's the only key thing, right? Key thing is that you got out of profit. See, so it looks like it's gonna hit the 50 points right there, Ashita. When we talked about. It's about to hit. Yep, it's on its way up. So the probabilities over here, there you go, 50 points. So this is what I was going to do. I was going to move my stop loss and profit to the 40 and then shoot for that at 50. Either way, I would have gone stopped out at 40 in profit. But it did hit the 50 there. Again, my algo over here identified a 25-50 move and it played out perfectly. So I'll go spot on for two back-to-back wins right there for 751. Yeah, pretty incredible there. Again, I'm trying to update my my trader sync, but for some reason, man, this trader sync is it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying trying to get the trades updated. Let me see if I could update it over here. All right. And then sometimes I think my trader sync doubles up on positions, but then I got to go in manually to fix that. Yeah, so I don't think it's updated with the trades for the 8th. Yeah, and this thing's pushing up pretty nice. But yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. There's another opportunity here for entry. The next opportunity for entry is going to be at 854, I believe. Let me check. 850 actually. So the 854 is not really like a really solid entry. The one at 850 is actually better. It's at 70.59%. It's a good entry. It hits most Wednesdays. So if you guys are looking to take more trades later, these are going to be your possible setups. It's going to be with momentum. So whatever direction momentum is pushing, that's where you're looking to take it. But that's basically going to be the criteria there. And again, these are my stats of that specific trade. I'm gonna see if Trader Sync's updating. If it's not updating, then which it doesn't look like it's updating, then I'll probably just post a screenshot of my calendar. Oh, there we go. So it's slowly updating. You can see the trades over here slightly getting a couple of profits. Um, all right, yeah, it's like 4 trades right there. It should be adding up to about like 30 trades, I think, or something close to that number. But that's kind of what I'm waiting for to update here. Let's see. I got a couple questions here before I get off. Let's see. Yes, Sam said, enjoy your birthday, bro. Great day already. Yeah, I'm pretty much done trading. I'm not going to take these at 850. If you guys want to take them, feel free. But again, that's going to be the next setup later today. Let's see. Glenn said, anyone here knows earn to trade funding? Are they legit? I've heard of them, but I've never used them before, Glenn. So I can't answer your question. Hopefully someone else here has and they can answer you. Another question from Blanco. Blanco said, Sean, do you do any social media branding? Do you do any group Zoom calls, maybe like on a monthly basis, talk on trading and psychology? So I used to do that before. So before we used to have mentoring sessions every Monday, but now that I have the hedge fund, it's kind of hard for me to kind of put time aside from that. And then also with my baby, I don't really have time for that stuff. Maybe in the future. So maybe in the future, I'll probably do those monthly or weekly group calls again. Just right now, I just got to get the balls rolling with the hedge fund. Once the balls are rolling with the hedge fund and I have more free time, I can start doing those mentoring calls. But yeah, right now specifically, I'm not doing any mentoring. I'm not doing any teaching. It's really just main focus is pushing through with the hedge fund and getting clients for that side. But yeah, no, for sure. Definitely that's kind of what I'm gonna be focusing on right now. And then later in the future, I'll be probably going back to maybe teaching a little bit here and there. The main teaching I would probably do is for this algo though, for those of you who are going to be using it. And I'm probably going to build more algo. So I have this algo here basically specifically for momentum. I'll probably rebuild further for the orb and stuff. Yeah, hindsight said birthday, 6 day win streak. Yeah, no, it's been super on point. Let me refresh this real quick. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab my daughter. I could hear her crying right now. She's wondering where I'm at. Hey, girl. All right, baby girl, say hello to your fans. Man, this girl is so needy. I could hear her making noise, but she's not actually crying. She has no tears. She's just needy. She just wants me. She's just hanging out, but like, she's just like her mom. Both super needy. She just wanted to be on the session with us. So let's see real quick if this thing is updated. Uh, Let me just go over here real quick, see if my it's like slowly updating. So you can see over here it's updating a little bit, little by little. It's got like 10 trades. It's just updating really slowly. But yeah, guys, today was pretty good. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to hop into the chat. Otherwise, I think we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Was hoping we'd be able to pull up a little more data, but I think we're good. Let's see. Yeah, Talanji said she's already figured out the dad wrapped around my finger method. Yeah, I know. Can't can't get away. She gets whatever she wants for sure. CJ said she wants to see our profits for the day. I know, baby girl, you want to see? So this is what we did for the birthday profits, baby. Look at your birthday profits right there. See the green? Green's gonna be your favorite color. You like the green, huh? Look at that. So if we were to just do a quick estimation of profits, I'd probably say we locked in about like two, one, two, three, four, maybe closer to 10K around there. If you were to add up all the accounts that are listed right there. I have more accounts though. These are actually not all the accounts. I just took a screenshot of whatever I can get. Otherwise, my whole screen would be full of profits here. But yeah, guys. All right, so I think that's going to be it. The last trade I wanted to follow through here was going to be this for the 50 points, which it did hit. So looking at the algo over here, the algo did pretty great today. Like I said, if you take every trade that the algo gives that has high probability, you're going to end up in profit regardless, right? So I took both of the trades here. I had two setups that I was mainly looking for. So you can see over your target entry at 6. I took that. Unfortunately, it lost. But then I took this one at 751, also my target entry. I only had two pretty much solid target entries I decided to take, and they both hit full TP right there. So it did pretty good. It did pretty good. So pretty solid. Yeah, Kim said still can't believe you missed the opportunity for Profit Blue. Kelly, she's so cute. I know, right? I'm gonna have to name my kid Prophet Blue, my next kid, or Prophet Green. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. Thank you guys all for the birthday wishes. Today was a great day trading. I'm glad that we had a good trading day, or else my birthday would kind of suck. Just kidding, but, but I'm glad that we did end up the day with profit. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I know you're pretty busy today with my family, doing stuff for my birthday, so I probably won't be able to respond to you guys until tomorrow, but I will get to you guys when I have time. And if you guys are looking for the stats for the algo, they're probably going to come up a little later today because I'm going to be going out to dinner. I had dinner yesterday. That's why this came out pretty late yesterday. But then I'm going out to dinner again with my other side of my family, or my extended family for uh, for tonight. So if you guys do want to see the stats will probably be posted up closer to like 11 tonight Pacific time. But the stats will be posted up, and I'll let you guys know if I'm going on a little earlier. I probably will be going on a little earlier because the 6 o'clock entry is probably going to show up again for tomorrow. So, all right, guys, thank you guys for all the birthday wishes again.